Hello and welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm Dean Meagher. Today I want to talk about a simple putting tip that I think everyone knows but doesn't really know how to execute very well, and that is to make sure that their bigger muscles in their shoulders are in charge of their putting stroke. And I think there's an important reason why I think sometimes that is not the case, and mainly it's because people are trying to keep their head very, very still. And while that is important, I would say it's actually more important to make sure that your bigger muscles are moving. And so what I find when people are putting, when they're trying to keep their head down and head still, a lot of the time their shoulders will freeze at the ball and then they start to flick their hands on the way through. So very commonly, I think active hands through the ball is one of the biggest causes of missed putts as opposed to too much head movement. I think most people's heads don't actually move around that much unless they're so keen to see the result that they lurch towards the putt before they've even hit the putt, which I would say is a slight issue. But if you understand that you've got to hit as good a putt as you can, moving your shoulders, and then watch to see if the ball goes in, that's a good mentality to have, as opposed to, let's keep my head dead still for as long as possible and not move it at all when I'm putting. I think what will happen is your shoulders will stop and your hands will have to keep flicking to move the putter through the ball. So importantly, I want people to practice keeping their head still, but making sure their shoulders keep moving while their head is staying still. And to me, I'm doing a big shoulder movement as much as possible, as far as my shoulders can turn on the way back and through, to encourage that shoulder movement. Whether I've got a short putt or a long putt, I just want to make sure that I'm initiating the movement from my shoulders. So if I have a putt of this length, I'm not going to move my shoulders as far as I showed you there, but I am still going to move my shoulders, and especially in the moment that it counts. And the moment that it counts is through the putt, not on the way back. I think everyone used their shoulders okay on the way back. The issue is the moment of contact on the ball when you're putting. People start to freeze up, they try to keep still, and they get nervy and they get jittery and their hands start to get involved. I want to make sure that your shoulders are making a really strong move through the putt. And a quick tip on that left shoulder should move in more of an upwards direction than pulling around. So if you pull around, your head comes with it. If the shoulder goes up, your head stays a bit stiller. So I like to occasionally just drop the putter by my leg here, get my hands together, and feel my left shoulder go up towards the sky. And that usually feels like my hands can easily pass through the putt without any flick necessary. And the more I practice using my shoulders, the more I feel like I don't even have to think when I'm putting. I just let the putter go about its motions, and my bigger muscle groups are in charge. It allows my hands to stay relatively soft, but also in a place where they can guide the putter consistently. If you're using your wrist to flick it, the putter face is going to change all the time. And I find that's the biggest issue. So I'll hear a lot of the time people say, got to keep my head still, got to keep my head still. I'll watch them putt. Yeah, their head stays still, but I see them flicking their hands. And so you're going to miss a lot more putts if that happens. So I would rather that your head stays still because your shoulders are moving really well through the putt, especially through the putt. So work on that in your practice. Do it out in the course if you're in the middle of a round, because that's the first thing that's going to start to slow down. Your shoulders will get lazy and then we start to flick our putts. As soon as we get flicky, we get missy. So no more missy. Use your shoulders and make the putt and get more confidence knowing that the bigger muscles are a lot easier to control than those little finicky ones in your hand and wrist.